Hello, I'm Jane from Loopy's Place and I'm coming to you today from my studio here in Sheffield. Over the last few weeks it's been really fantastic to be able to get back to teaching people in person. It seems like it's been a very long time. What it has done as well, over the last few years I've been doing online classes, and though you can give people that personal help, you're not there in the moment and seeing what's happening. So I thought I'd just come and share some insights that I've gained from the last few weeks, from the classes that I've been doing in the community. We're dealing with classes with mixed ranges. We've got people that are coming for the fun of it and those that have just started out with sewing. So you can imagine that it gets quite interesting as you're being able to adapt for all those different needs. One thing that I've seen, and I think it's true of all of us, when we're trying something new, we're full of excitement, we want to get going, we want to make things, and we have this whole list of things that we could be making piling up in our minds, and we want to rush through and get them done. But sometimes it will just does us good just to step back a bit and take some time. Now, if you've got a new machine, did you just jump in and get sewing? I know I've done that in the past. But sometimes just taking the time to get to know your machine and how it works, how the different stitches work, can help us in the long run. It will help us to get our seams straight. We'll get to know the width of our seams, get to know how the different feet work and where we can place our stitching on the machine and know that we're going to be getting consistent sewing. I know for one of my machines I need to just take some notes sometimes when I've started off doing particular plique to know exactly how I want the stitches. So by doing some stitching on some scrap fabric, making some notes, then when you come to start doing a proper project you can think, right, that's exactly how I need it set up, that's how it's going to work. It saves you a lot of pain from having to do some undoing. When it comes to quilting, we need accurate seams. We talk about the 1/4 inch seam, and it is quite difficult when you've never sewn before to make sure that this is accurate. This is where spending some time to get your machine can help. You can stitch your line of stitching, then you can line up your foot exactly where you think it's going to be, the 1/4 inch, and then stitch it and see if it matches up. If not, you can make those minor adjustments. Getting a 1/4 inch piece and foot helps, but depending on where your needle is, it may not always be accurate, so it's good to take the time to test that out so that you're not going to be trying to piece your blocks and wondering why your seams aren't matching up. Now, I faced a situation this week where we're stitching with layers and they move. So taking our time means that we're not going to have our fabric sliding around, and when we finish and turn things through, we're not going to have those holes there. As you're stitching, have it clipped or pinned in place first. If it's particularly slippery, make sure that it's used more than you would normally. And as you're going along, just make sure you're lining up. Take the time to get to the ends of the corners. And when you're turning corners, make sure that you're starting from the edge of the fabric as well and stitching right through. It's quite easy to miss and then have an unstitched bit in the corner, which we don't want. It's okay for a bit, but it starts to wear and tear and it begins to fray. I know we're full of enthusiasm, we want to get going and we want to make wonderful things, but do take some time just to slow down, get some practice in, practice your 1/4 inch seams, try and get consistent seams as well, and it's worth it. Having that practice will pay off and it'll be so much easier and a lot less painful when you come to making things because you're not having to spend that time undoing it. I hope those just a couple of hints will help you. If you're helping somebody else, maybe your children or a friend, and you're doing it that will help them to be able to get to know their machines, look after their machines, and to be able to get those consistent sewing habits. It works out for the better in the end. So that's some things I picked up from our community classes over the last 5 weeks. I hope they've helped, and I'm looking forward to those coming into the studio. If you're new to sewing, do let me know, and we can spend some time getting to know our machines and making sure that you're comfortable with the sewing, how the speed works and how the fabric feeds through. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, click the bell for notifications. I'll be back soon with some more helpful hints and tips, and also with news of the classes coming up here in the studio. I look forward to seeing you very soon. Take care for now.